guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome if this is your first time here. It's time for another ASMR video, and in today's video I am going to be colouring the logo for the Canadian national football team, or soccer team if you prefer. Now, I printed this outline of the logo off the internet. I found a site that has outlines for a number of logos for different companies, not just sports teams. There was a wide variety of logos, but I saw this one, and for quite a while it's been one of my favourite national team logos. I just think it looks really good. In the upper section we have the maple leaf. It's a half maple leaf, which is obviously symbolic with Canada. And then we have Canada written in the centre. And to complete the logo, we have a half soccer ball in the lower section of the logo. So I'm only going to need 2 pens for this video. The first pen I have is my black Sharpie pen, and what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to go around the outline and give it a black bold edge, and following on from that I will be colouring certain sections with this red brush colouring pen. So I will put that to the side just for the meantime, and we will begin with our Sharpie marker. So I'll just pop the cap of the marker and place it on the top, and we are ready to go. So I think I will start on this side of the logo. I'll just move it up a bit. And what we have to do is very carefully go around the outline of the logo. So we have to do this as neatly and as carefully as we can. And I may have to turn my page quite a few times when doing this, just to make sure that I get the outline done as neatly as I can. I always think that logos look better when they have a black outline. It always gives it a sharp edge. It makes it look really good. So there are quite a few curves to this logo, as you can see. But I think that's a decent start. And we have a straight part here, so that shouldn't be too difficult. I really do like a number of sports logos. I think they look really good. Gives the team a identity. Unique, of course. Every team's logo is unique to that team. And the Canadian national football team logo is really appealing on the eye. I haven't actually been outside of Europe before, but if I was to go anywhere, Canada would be high on my list of places to visit. My mum actually has a friend who emigrated to Canada back in the 1990s, and I was very friendly with her son at the time. And I don't recall exactly where she moved to in Canada, but I think it was somewhere on the east coast. occasionally still speak. I think it's important to keep in touch with people even when they move away, especially if you were close to them when they were here, living in the same place that you were. So now we have this straight line to do. It's probably going to be easier to start at this end. And as some of you may know, I am not an artistic person. I have actually started becoming more artistic because of this channel. It's kind of got me interested in doing things like this, making videos like this for the channel. But in general, I'm not artistic, so this is all new to me. But through watching some videos, I have learned that when you're drawing a straight line, it is easiest to pull the pen towards yourself. So I am picking up some tips as we go along. And there we have the top part of the logo complete, and it does look quite smart like that, I think. So we have started out quite well with our logo, and now we will move on to the lettering, and we will trace it as carefully as we can. And we start with the C. I think these curves are the most challenging part of tracing. And I don't need to be as particular with this part because the lettering will actually get colored in black when it is complete. So as long as we get the general outline of it, we should be okay. This is actually quite tricky. Just need to be a little bit thicker there. Bring that out ever so slightly. And that's not too bad looking at all. So we move on to our A now. And I actually anticipated that this would be easier than it is. This is my first time doing any tracing, probably since I was a child. So I anticipated that this would be a bit easier than it is, but it is okay. You just have to keep your focus and you should be okay with it, even if you have limited artistic ability. I guess this is the easiest form of art. But I'm really liking how this is turning out. How the black marker gives that bold edge to what we are tracing. I think it looks very smart. And hopefully, when it's all complete and colored in, it's going to look very appealing on the eye. So, a lot of straight edges for the end there. And now we have sections I had intended to use. So this video sort of came together at the last minute. So hopefully it will still be enjoyable. And there we have the D almost complete. We just have this inner section to do. And it really is much easier if you turn the page to whatever you feel comfortable with. It's obviously very important that you feel comfortable with what you're doing. I think particularly when it comes to art, because it is very tricky. So whatever way you need to turn the page, you go ahead and do that. And for left-handers, it may be the opposite way to the way that I turn the page and what feels comfortable for me. But we're all individuals at the end of the day. The word Canada traced successfully. I'm quite pleased with that. So now we only have this lower section to do. There are a lot of curves in this section, so it may be the most tricky to do. So I just have to keep my focus until the tracing section of the video is complete. And this part is quite tricky to navigate, but I think I've done it okay there. Obviously this is the thinnest part of the logo, so we have to be extremely careful. And I apologize if you can hear any birds outside. There are a number of crows going a bit mad outside at the minute. They've been doing that all morning. I'm not quite sure what has got them so excited. I think there may be a cat around and they're warning each other. I can just hear the squawks of them and their feet on the roof, so I apologize if you can hear that. I'll do my best to edit any noise out. And we come up and round. And as we progress with this tracing, I am now starting to feel a bit more confident in my tracing ability. So we're doing well so far. We have 3 sections left to do of the lower section of the logo. So we have these 3 parts, and then we will be ready to begin the colouring. So I just have to keep my focus and make sure not to make any mistakes as we come to the completion of the tracing section of the video. I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. And just the 2 sections left to do. I think tracing is very relaxing. I'm quite enjoying doing this as it goes, and I hope that you're enjoying the video as well. And if you are enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up down below, as it does help the channel. a small channel. Every like I get helps. So thank you. If you do like my videos, I appreciate that. And we are almost complete now. And there we go. We have completed the outline of the Canadian soccer logo, and I think that looks really well compared to how we started at the beginning of the video. Okay guys, so the next section we need to complete of our logo is the text section in the center, and we will continue with our Sharpie marker, and we need to simply color the text in black. So I will do that as carefully as I can, and I think when this is complete it's going to look very sharp indeed. Excuse the pun, as I am using a Sharpie marker. I really like the sounds that markers make. In terms of ASMR, it is one of my favorite triggers. As a viewer of ASMR, I do enjoy artistic type videos, so I do enjoy watching people draw and create things or make things. Just in general, kind of creative type videos are very enjoyable to me. But yeah, let me know what your favorite type of ASMR videos are in the comments, and maybe I will take some of those on board and look to create my own. So I'm almost complete with the A now. I think that's looking quite well. Just going to try to level it off here at the top slightly. I think that is good enough. And we have another A here to do as well. I think this is starting to look really well. I had an idea of what it would look like before I began, but it is looking even better than I imagined it would. So I'm very pleased at this stage. So we have 2 more letters to do, and then the text will be complete. surface. Because that can be very problematic to remove, especially if it's a permanent marker like this one. Permanent means permanent at the end of the day. But these markers are very high quality. I've never actually used a Sharpie marker before using this one for the channel, but it is the marker that I most often see used in these types of videos, so I thought it best to get one, and I did that on Amazon, and they're very cheap on there as well, so very handy to have for these videos. And now we are almost complete with the text, and that is the A complete. Okay, so that completes our text section of the logo, and we can pop the cap back on our Sharpie marker and put it to the side, and we can bring in our red brush pen, which we're going to need to complete the coloring of this logo. So I will begin with the maple leaf section, and I'm just going to turn the page to the side as I think it will be easier to color this way. So we'll begin up here and do this as neatly as we can. And I'm not sure if this pen will mix with the Sharpie marker, so I'm going to have to be very careful so that they don't touch. So just being very careful around these edges. I'm just going to have to try to blend this as best I can and avoid any major streaks. I don't think it's going to be possible to completely eliminate any streaks or to get it completely solid, but I will do my best to try to blend it in as best I can and make it look as smooth as I can. I think that's looking pretty good so far. I'm just going to turn it round and see what it looks like from the right way up. So I think as I said before, something I've learned from art videos so far is it's much easier to pull the brush towards yourself. And I guess the same applies to colouring in. These brush pens are very thick, so I'm having to be very gentle with them. I think if I was to lean too hard, it may start to pull the page up. We don't want that. We've come too far at this stage to mess anything up at this point. So hopefully this is looking okay on the camera. It's a lot trickier than I imagine it would be. Guess I'm a little bit out of practice when it comes to colouring in. But I think this part may be easier to turn my page this way. It really just depends on what part you're colouring for the way that you need to turn your page. But yeah, I think that's starting to come together well. And we are almost at the completion of the maple leaf. And at this point I'm very satisfied with how this logo is turning out. And yeah guys, if you want to give this a go yourself, just let me know in the comments and I can post the link to where I got this from online. Okay, so that is the top section complete. And now we will move on to the lower part of the logo. And we will start over here. I think it might actually be easier to turn it upside down, just so that I can get the best angle for doing so, because we don't want our hand to be touching the part that we've just coloured, just in case the ink is still a tiny bit wet. this part shouldn't take too long to complete. I think I slightly underestimate my ability when it comes to artistic things. I'm not as bad as what I imagine, even when it comes to something like this. I think I'm quite capable of completing this without any major issues. So we are now quite close to the completion of it, and it's starting to look really well, I think. But of course it is very basic and straightforward, so I shouldn't get too carried away. I think for my first time drawing series, the things that I'm going to be drawing on there are going to be more challenging than this. But this seemed like something fun to do for today, just to mix things up a little bit. But I do intend to do another video very soon for the first time drawing series. And if you haven't seen the first video in that series, you can check that out in the playlists. It's in the art and creative section, where I draw a cartoon panda for the first time. And I was very pleased with how it turned out. I mean, it wasn't perfect, of course, but it was to my liking, and I was very pleased with it. So I plan to continue that series very soon and attempt to draw something for the first time. I think it's a really good fun series to do for the channel, and no matter what the outcome of the drawing, you will be able to see it before your very eyes. If I was to attempt the drawing and do it really badly, and then attempt it for a second time, that would really defeat the purpose of the series. It really is my first time drawing the objects in the videos. So we had the panda first of all, and very soon we will have our second video in the series. So yeah, look out for that on the channel. Should be good fun. And we are very close to completing the logo for the Canadian national football team, or soccer team if you prefer. Here in the UK, obviously we call soccer football, so I'm very used to saying football. But yeah, it is the soccer team. And I believe both the men's and women's team use this logo. And there we have it, guys. We have completed the logo for the Canadian soccer team. And I'm really very pleased with how that's turned out. I think it looks better than I could have imagined it would. And I don't think that took too long to complete. There were certain parts of it that were tricky to navigate, but I think I've done okay there. I'm very pleased with that result. So yeah, guys, I think that is it for today's video. please give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, and that way you will get notified whenever a video goes live on the channel. But thank you once again for watching, and as always, rest easy, sleep well, and I will see you all very soon.